Corinne, I think the show has begun.
Yeah?
With our phones being slowly put away.
Actually, just going to ask you, we only know the show has started when your phone accidentally goes off and then you have to remember like an old man.
I don't know how to, it's on vibrate, but I always sit it on something that vibrates and makes it so loud that it might as well be on. So I'm going to try to not do that today.
I'm going to challenge you with something even dumber.
Okay.
I don't know how to put my phone on vibrate. I only know how to do silent or not. Does every phone have a vibrate function?
Yes. What do you think? It's just like all or nothing with your phone?
Yes. I use the little
What a
quarter
way to
button,
live your life.
It's only got 2 switches.
Okay.
So every time yours vibrates, I'm like, wow, it must be because he has an Apple Watch or something.
I'm just really fancy. Figured out. I think putting your phone on vibrate is like the first thing that they teach you when you're learning to walk and talk again. Like it's a baseline function.
Well, I think everything, I have so much so that I have in my text messages, everybody but one person is muted.
In your text?
Yeah. So I make them all mute because I don't know how to make it vibrate and I can't stand the beeping of a text message.
Wait, so you just scan your text to see if anybody you've muted has contacted you?
Yeah.
But
it's not great.
The only time I would mute somebody is if they told me they were going to kill me and then followed it up by misspelling the N-word. You don't?
No, I swipe left and it says archive or mute and I mute everybody. Unless like for example, truthfully, one person is just forever not muted. It's an ex of mine that I just get excited when he texts me.
Wait a second. Do I get muted?
Yeah.
I'm on mute.
Yeah, but if I know I'm going to see you that day, I unmute you so that in case you're contacting me, like I'm on my way to your house. But I hate the sound of a text going off. I mean,
that is so strange.
But
it's even weirder. I contact you and you respond immediately.
Well, I do look often because I have to because like work shit. Like I have to look at it.
It's way harder to have to constantly be like, you know what? I wonder if somebody texted me and it's an emergency.
I know.
And
like my mother is muted. Like
you just move this little button here on the side.
Yes, but then you've muted the whole phone. I want it to be able to ring, but I hate the text beep.
The bigger deal is who the hell wants their phone to ring? What are you working in a call center in 1982 for AT&T?
For like work reasons. And I don't know. I didn't know this was strange. And my friend Michelle was in my phone because she's like my tech guru. And I was trying to get her to do
guru.
Yeah, screen sharing, which she was not able to do with my new TV. This is a year and a half ago or something. And she looks at it and she goes, why is my shit muted? Because there's like a little sign.
It's a little offensive.
Yeah. And I was like, well, scroll down. Every single person is muted. And she's like, what are you doing?
That's one of those things that like a woman would confront a cheating spouse about. Mm-hmm. But then when they realize that everybody's muted, they're like, oh, they're not cheating. They're crazy. Like that is insane.
So I would also say like I'm very protective of my like the what pops up on your phone, obviously. And I mean, you want to know a random funny story? The story I told last week when we went to this poor guy, I'm just trying to, the New York Ranger, Danny Blackburn's house, right? So the guy that I was seeing that was on the Rangers, that was the reason I met
the 2 Rangers.
Yes. So there's two different Rangers. One I dated, the other was Danny.
I think there were only 5 Power Rangers. So this is
really
this is 40% of them.
So I went out while I was dating him, but like it wasn't exclusive. I was dating him. I went out and like I just happened to befriend Evander Holyfield. And I exchanged numbers with him, and I was like super excited because like I love boxing, and I don't know really how I found myself in a situation where I was exchanging phone numbers with Evander, but my phone was laying face up.
Next thing you know, I'm staring at his title belt that's above his headboard.
Well, I was asking questions about the ear, like all the things you would do if you met Evander. And also, I met him at a very popular New York bar, not a nightclub, but a bar. And it's my understanding that he's like super religious and has like 19 kids. So I don't know what he was doing frolicking with the likes of me. He was by himself. I found him. Then I glommed onto him. And then whatever, we exchanged information. So he texted me to take me out to dinner. And my phone at the time, this is the very beginning age of text messaging. It popped up. First and last name, Evander Holyfield, and then it said, would you like to get dinner this week? And my ex is like, is that, what's happening here? And I was like, I don't. Which part do you need explanation? He's like, is that Evander Holyfield? I was like, yeah.
If you have to ask, you know it's Evander Holyfield. So let's move on.
Yeah. So I was like, maybe you want to get exclusive before I go to dinner with Evander.
Yeah, look.
But that was the last time I ever had. I figured out how to get messages not to show up after that because I was like, I can't keep getting busted like with obvious shit like that.
And it's I've always wanted to explore the world of different ways people have gotten caught cheating. Mm-hmm. I have an embarrassing one. I think a lot of dudes that are not technically savvy do, and or did back in the day, kind of when like photo sharing plans.
Oh yeah,
was a thing. I think a lot of dudes got a little jammed up with that. I have a
jammed up is a great way to say that.
I have a homeboy that was. He said he was screen sharing from his phone to the TV, and he was with this girl, and he didn't have just his text messages sent to just like message, and it was just like an explicit message from a woman that was not the one sitting next to him. Mm-hmm. And he said he just knew he could. He was just turned and said, "We have some things to talk about." Like, 'cause that's all you can do at that point. Like, we just were staring at a 55-inch screen of me cheating, so let's not do the dance here.
Right.
We can kind of move past. But yeah, have you ever gotten caught because of technology, or do you just mute everything so you just kind of you suppress everything like an evil warlord?
No, I am like I'm not sloppy. Like I'm pretty, but also I'm not really ever in an exclusive relationship. So like if you wanted exclusivity, you should be expecting that if you're not coming to the table asking for that and like making that move, that like I'm definitely look. We have the cheat first mentality. So like I'm already probably diversifying my portfolio. But if you've not said we're exclusive, I am for sure doing that.
Wow. Okay. I like that. I mean, I think you should assume that. I think a lot of people get messed up because they think that whatever they're doing, the other person is doing. But you have to, like what they say, when you're 4 years old, use your words. Mm-hmm. And even if it's uncomfortable and you feel vulnerable, if you don't want that other person, you need to be like, yo, I would like you to only. Because I did that with my girl. I was just like, I remember I was watching, I was like, I don't want her to leave. I like her here. And I want to make sure that she knows, just in case, because people don't know.
But until we have that conversation, I am trying not to, actively, like, okay, like you're not signing up all the way, so I'm not going to either.
Yeah, look, it's like money. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You're diversifying your portfolio until somebody goes, yo, I'm the Bitcoin you've been waiting for. Get rid of all your other stuff. I'm the one to ride with. If it's not that, then it's open. Now, here's my other question. As you made me think about it as you were talking. Would you ever be open to an open marriage?
Not at all. Not even remotely. Not even for a fucking second. No.
What about the top 2 guys on your roster?
Oh, I get to. It's just me that's
open?
It
can be either way.
If it's just
you, would you? Because there are. I don't know what they call those.
Cucks?
No, it's not. There was a movie about it where, and it's not from me, but it's just like we're like usually we see the guy with 2 or more women, but this was the dynamic. It was like a 30-year-old attractive woman with 2 30-something-year-old attractive dudes, and they just all flowed in the house together. Could you do that?
No. My ideal scenario is the guy that I am exclusive with. I'm probably never going to get married, but the person, like if I sign up for like a partnership and we're exclusive, I would prefer he live out of state. I think like my ideal relationship would be like we alternate, like you come for 2 weeks, then I go there for 2 weeks, or like I don't think we should live in the same place 100% of the time.
Okay, so then now we're back to the exclusivity. Because if I'm seeing my wife twice a month, there's an unsaid thing.
Shit. Yeah,
Look, come on, Doc. What you want? Come on, man.
I mean, well, I feel like as people get older, maybe. I don't know. I don't want, like Whoopi Goldberg once said.
Are you familiar with the concept of OnlyFans? It's all older, sad men on there.
That's fine, but they're not getting it in real life. They're just watching it on OnlyFans. I mean, I like the buildup of the excitement of seeing the person when you haven't seen them. And I think if I see you every day, it's just not going to be that exciting.
Have you ever been with anybody you felt like you could see every day?
Yes, and he did not feel the same way. I only lived with one person for 3 months. And because, I mean, he wasn't working and I was, and so I would come home. It was over a summer. I would come home from work like a puppy. Like I was like, okay, like what do you want to do? And he was just like annoyed. He wanted his, which is ridiculous. He wanted space. He was doing nothing all day.
Well, it's because it's the same way like when you loan somebody money and you don't think about it again. Mm-hmm. But anytime, and anybody listening needs to know that anytime, I would say 97% of the time when you loan somebody money, that is the end of the friendship, and you should understand that because every friendship has a power dynamic. Our power dynamic is equal.
Yeah.
So it's like we come in, we put their time together. When I say 4 o'clock, you are here at 4 o'clock. You're ready to roll. I try to have the studio set up because you respect my time. I respect your time. I just like you as a person. Mm-hmm. And that's the dynamic. But if all of a sudden you go bankrupt and I'm just like kind of, you know, I'm not saying anything, but you're like, oh, man, I'll pay for this equipment. And like he's paying Kelly, the producer, like, I don't know. I wonder now, is he being a little funny with me? And I'm normal. I'm like, oh, I love Corinne. It's all good. But the power dynamic has changed because the money situation has changed. And so you have to understand that once you give somebody money, no matter, hey, boy, I love you, it's all good. The power dynamic has changed. And that's why it's always a little weird. Any little thing you do, oh, man, I forgot to invite you to my mom's 50th. Yeah, okay, dude. And you're like, bro. But it's because your mom's 50th is just the one thing. He's like, see, I told you. Mm-hmm. He thinks I'm less than. She thinks I'm less than. Especially when it's a male-female dynamic where you're laying out the crib. He's standing in your nice crib and you're coming home dressed nice.
I made him actually, despite the fact that he paid for, like, he had a really nice, like, penthouse place in Miami that his father bought him, and I wanted him to live with me in LA, and obviously I hate Miami. I'm not going back to Miami. So
first of all, nice life on this kid.
I know.
He's being passed around like a rich jizz rag.
Yeah. So he was living with me in LA, and when he was coming to move me, I mean, he was still in law school at the time, and he's a trust fund baby, so he knew at a certain age when he turned that number, he was going to be taken care of. So I don't know why he bothered. Weird. Yeah, his father made him like, he was like, you have to get an MBA and you have to get a law degree, and then we're going to hand you over the company. But my ex is, you know, he gets the degrees, but he never actually wanted the company or wanted to work for anything, and he knew when he was getting his money.
And he's not going to fail, like no teacher, because he's going to a school in which like dad has contributed here's the library. When you go sit on the bench and it's somebody's name on there, like that's his dad kind of stuff. And so like you think professors don't know that? You think they're gonna get? It's like you were doing coke in class again today, so if you could not, you know, he's gonna like he knows he's gonna skate through, and I think he secretly resents the world for that. A lot of
it
like,
wasn't so
rich
secret.
Kids,
he was so what I was gonna say is I asked him.
Angry.
I was like, look, I don't know if you want to like sublet your place or whatever you want to do, because we were hoping he was going to get into a law school, but he's too stupid to get into like Pepperdine or one of the law schools near me. So he was supposed to stay for the summer, get an internship over the summer, and then remain in my house and like dump the place in Miami. So I was like, for what it's worth, like I'm going to make you pay half the rent, even though you're still supporting the place in Miami, because I think dynamic wise,
you're ahead of your time.
Yeah. And then it gets worse.
You were the Jackie Robinson of power dynamics.
Yeah. He had an allowance. And so I wasn't just, hey, like it was $1,800 a month for that place. And I was like, it's $900 for you. And the first of the month, I'm like, so
did you just put on Bone Thugs and Harmony first of the month? I'm just getting showered to this song. I don't know why.
The Family Guy scene with Stewie and Brian, like where he starts like beating the shit out of him. So like the second of the month, I was like, and he's like, Corinne, I have an allowance and I get it like I can give it to you by the 15th. I was like,
that's something an 11-year-old should be yelling out of a treehouse window. It's so embarrassing.
He's still got a fucking allowance. He's never ever grown up. But yeah, actually, this is just a random funny thing as well, because you were talking about getting busted. So I have been trying. So for this podcast, I try and put together, the vouch dating stories, if there are banger buys, if there are patron stories, like I put them in separate albums. But I'm also, very bad with technology. And I don't have a ton of albums. The album that I have that's like, I don't know why it's always at the top. It's going to be good. I can see you giggling. It's a shared album for my friend's father's funeral. And so it's supposed to be memories you have with his father. And I accidentally added like 6 vouch dating photos today to it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And, his funeral was years ago, but the shared album is still there. And everyone that's connected to the shared album gets an alert that new photos have been added. And the photos I added.
Oh, no.
I didn't know what to do. I just deleted them and didn't say anything.
And they got an alert.
They definitely got an alert.
Because
this
they're
man's
like,
been dead for like 5 years.
Oh, my gosh. Somebody found some pictures of
Right.
Dad that we don't
so
have.
Exciting.
And,
yeah, they were for the slideshow. Yeah.
And it's like, hey, my friend doesn't suck as bad as you think he does. Hear me out.
Right.
They're like, what? I miss Dad. Jesus, Corinne. Jesus.
I stopped putting them in folders. I was so horrified. I was like, I'm just going to have to search for them on my fucking phone.
Because it's hard to get to the shared folders album anyway.
It comes up first on mine.
What? How did you do that?
This is why. It's because no. So when I click the photos, I say add to album, and then it asks like which album. But for whatever reason, the first thing that pops up is add to shared album, and I just haphazardly clicked it, and I only have one shared album.
Okay.
This Dead Man's Memories.
Wait.
I don't know, but I did it.
Why don't you archive that album?
How do you do that? Maybe you'll teach me after the podcast.
What if you just said something really mean to everybody on there? Like, guys, let's be honest, we're never going to use this again. So I'm going to remake this into still photos of the 93 Bulls. It's terrible.
Corinne has left the conversation.
Oh,
no, I love the man, but this was an accident, and I am quite horrified.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
But I
Corinne
will.
has left the conversation should be our spinoff podcast. Because leaving the conversation is the technological fuck you. Period. It just is. Like you cannot. It just means that everybody on this thread, I don't want to hear a word out of your mouth, and I don't want you to know what's coming out of my mouth. Can you walk around the fact that you're leaving a conversation?
No, but there's like, I mean, every now and then someone will throw me on like an Instagram.
Those
DM,
don't count.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is uninteresting. You have to leave the conversation right in the beginning. If you hang in there for a few weeks and you get then it's way worse. If you just leave in the very beginning, people just assume, oh, she doesn't like group talks.
Right. And especially the person that posted last in there.
Yes.
Whatever.
It's a direct insult.
That's direct. They're going to feel that. And also the other thing is once you leave, you've now basically set up a text group of people to talk shit about
you.
Yes.
Of course.
So it says, you can't do that. But speaking of people talking.
Sliding into DMs? What you got?
Well, yeah, somebody slid into my DMs.
Okay.
It was a fan.
Yeah.
It was a him. And we were talking, and I'm glad we get a chance to organically talk about this. We just had your friend Eliza on DBL.
Yes.
She was amazing. We had her back. We've had her back since. And this was her first appearance, and we brought her on. Full disclosure, this is when all the Trump stuff was first starting to come out.
Right.
And we're just trying to figure out, is this a legit case? What is this case? Right. What does this mean? We're all dumb, basically, is what it was. So I'm just, asking questions like, what is fraud, wire fraud, whatever he's being charged with. And I got a message because basically I was just saying on the show, this is not a slam dunk case. It's kind of like hush money, and it's hard to say, if you paid off a prostitute for me so that my girl didn't find out, it'd be hard to prove that. You could just be like, hey, I just gave this woman money just because I just felt like it's hard to prove like that. Obviously, that's what you were doing, but it's hard to prove that in court beyond a reasonable doubt. So I was just like, oh, it's not a slam dunk case. And because I said that benign statement, here's what my new BFF wrote. His name is James A. We'll leave it at that. And it says, at 2:29 p.m., so this is afternoon rage.
Oh.
You damn stupid ass, quit defending that damn motherfucking Trump and kissing his ass, you dumb alcoholic retard.
Oh, wow. Alcoholic.
Yeah, I threw that in there. Wish DBL would fire your damn ass, send you packing, no period. Yeah.
I mean, the response is always nice to meet a fan.
Well, I did.
You did?
Corinne.
Oh, please. I don't even know why I'm telling the master how to write something.
So at That was at 2:29. So at 3:10, I wrote my man James back. I had a little time. I said, James, language. It was a little out of line. I've never been accused of defending Trump, so this is a first. At 45, I don't get a lot of those, so thank you. My point was simple. Trying to prove beyond a reasonable doubt in the eyes of the court money was spent by a third party, Michael Cohen, was intended to go to Stormy Daniels, is difficult, especially since Michael Cohen is a 2-time convicted felon and Stormy Daniels is a porn star.
The most upsetting part about all this is that because I'm just finding out. I wasn't totally aware that Trump wasn't I don't know when did he stop being president? There was these basketball players and Joe Biden invited one to the house and I was like, oh, are they still in office? I mean, I'm so confused. But this is upsetting because Michael Cohen is clearly a Jew. And we don't usually go to prison. This is upsetting.
Trump's other lawyer, Alan Weisselberg, went to jail too.
Weisselberg is definitely a Jew.
Yeah, he went to Rikers. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I know. So,
I don't think I would persevere in jail, but I'm a special.
Yeah,
I'm a chosen one.
You have a gift.
Yeah.
You have a gift.
Okay, go on. I just got really upset that this Michael. Remember when I said the other day with the dermatologist, I said the most common name of all time is Eric Cohen.
Yes.
Well, this is second most common.
Wow. And it's also not common to not know somebody that's unfortunately being forced to follow the Trump saga as it goes into year 8. I'm jealous of you.
Yeah, it's wonderful because I really don't know anything. Mm-hmm. It's always a surprising because I have it muted everywhere. So every now and then someone will talk about it or it'll come across on the TV while I'm at the gym and I'm like, oh, Trump was fucking a high-class hooker. I actually don't mind that at all. I don't like the man, but I really have no problem with my president. Fucking hookers. I have no problem.
It just hit me that you have the same knowledge of the world that an astronaut would.
Yeah, I do.
Where they're the Cubs won the World Series, and so it's just the highlights. But it's other than that, you're just in the cosmos, which is I think why you look so young and feel so young, and you still enjoy life.
I'm so ignorant.
Is it because it's stuff that makes people mad that they can't do anything about.
Yeah,
and it's it doesn't make me mad because I'm dead inside. But I think a lot of people they really ride with this, and they're like, it's this dude.
Yeah.
And so, this is me just asking Eliza, do you think they have a case? And he's like, you Republican? Yeah. I'm like, sir.
Alcoholic.
Sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I go, a 2-time, twice convicted felon and a porn star. Her job shouldn't make a difference, but sadly, it will with some in the eyes of the public.
Let me ask you, when do you go from porn star to hooker? If she's getting paid for sex, she's a hooker.
You have to film it.
Yes. So that's the caveat.
Right.
If she filmed her and Trump having sex, then it's porn.
Right.
Not high-class hooker.
And then I think if you
I got no problems with either, to be clear.
If you film it, then it's not prostitution.
Why wouldn't every prostitute just film it?
I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people visiting prostitutes don't want that recorded.
Right.
But not everybody is Peter North with it. Some people are just a guy in a sexless marriage or a guy that's...
I mean, when I was a kid, I was very nervous about scalping tickets. We've reviewed that I'm not good at doing illegal things in general. But I wanted to... We had these crazy seats that my sorority got for... and we were a championship football team at UF. And I never wanted to go to the games because, I can't stand sitting through a game. And these were it's a lottery, and our sorority box was just a really good box. Also my sorority.
Yeah, I was about to say.
They had nice boxes. Yeah. So I was really interested in selling, and my someone explained to me that what you do is you stand there on the corner and you go, I'd like to sell you this pencil for $400, this ticket for face value. And so I would always sell the ticket with another item, thinking that was going to get me out of getting... Because people got arrested. People got clipped fucking left and right at Florida for selling tickets. It was a huge deal. I don't know why.
What?
I mean, you'd think the amount of why can't I think of the... GHB, that's the drug I was looking for. I mean,
right.
There's a lot of problems in Florida, but for whatever reason, the cops were real focused on getting college students who were selling tickets. Yeah. So I always sold it with a random item. So anyways, I'm thinking about, because that's where my mind goes, if I start prostituting, I will mandatory record everything.
It's if somebody is a lawyer and listening, let us know, does that work? Because I know prostitutes will be I'm not a prostitute. I accept 200 roses.
Right. Well, that's how they sold always in all the bars. You must know this in LA. There's the guy that has the roses, and it's for cocaine.
Oh, yeah. 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 Okay. So I go on to say quickly, I was doing my job, which was to ask an expert, the attorney, what we, the public, should be aware of. As prosecuting a former sitting president is unprecedented. The alcoholic comment was semi-hilarious. Repub-retard, however, didn't work. It's a one-word word salad. Next time, and this is just a suggestion, use both full words and maybe put the R word in all caps for effect. Or maybe don't, because it's a repugnant word that is sure to ostracize you from the people that agree with you that I do, in fact, suck. Finally, I'm a comic that talks on live TV. Being fired is always on the table. So, fingers crossed. Yes, it's not great for you that they still employ me, but the good news is it's opening day weekend. Who's your team? Silver linings. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go relapse at an airport Chili's. I'm not going anywhere, but I just want to relapse at the saddest place I could think of. All the best.
That's my favorite thing ever. The idea of like I'm gonna go to the airport to relapse there.
Just
like at the pre-gate, pre-security.
Oh, that's
the worst.
That's
Anytime
for real
I see
drunks.
anyone sitting there, I'm like, what are you doing? Do you not have the anxiety I do that like I will relax once I'm through fucking security and near my gate? No. You just chilling.
They're not chilling. You know what it is? That means they couldn't go any further without a drink.
That's what that means.
That means that you can't, because a normal person be like, yo, there's a bar down the street from my spot. The bartender's waiting on us. We drink free all night. That's what normal people would do.
Yeah.
This person is like, I cannot get my rental car until I get 2 more scotch doubles down me. All right? Now shut up. Did I ever tell you that one time I was doing this back when I was flying through Charlotte all the time, and on Sundays, it's the South, and you forget, a lot of people don't realize, especially if you're not in the lounge, the airport has to adhere to whatever dumb Sunday drinking laws that state has.
Right.
So you just had me and the other drunks all sitting at a bar that could not serve us till like 11:30 or whatever on a Sunday. Football's on, grown men drinking orange juice because they won't let us drink.
Travesty.
And so like I sat there for a half an hour. So as soon as it was like 10:30 or 11 hit, like she was like, okay. And just everybody just sat up, like all the alcoholics are like, we can't even lie about what this is. And my flight was coming. So I go, let me get a shot of tequila and a double Kettle Rocks soda with a couple limes. And this black woman, she just goes, oh, honey. She was so sad for me. She's like, oh, I'm like, look, don't judge me because you didn't let us drink. Now I have to embarrass myself because they're calling my gate.
I famously went to one of my best guy friend Nazar's wedding, and fun story. I feel
That's
like I say that.
That's a great name.
Yeah, Nazar. I went to his wedding, and he organized this like incredible house in, I always forget, is it Cape Cod? It's somewhere in Rhode Island. What's his famous?
Newport?
Yes, that. Mm-hmm. Correct. So it was...
For anybody listening, she pointed her finger at my face like a drill sergeant in one of those at-risk youth camps. Correct, sir. You get to the front of the chow line today. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
So I was flying in, and I was like super excited because we had this huge mansion. There was like 28 of us staying in it. And funny enough, there were all couples except for me and one other guy. So they were like, you guys have to share a room. And I was like, fine, whatever. But my flight got delayed, and then like it was a bitch to get an Uber. I was like super delayed, super, super late. And I was pissed because I only had like a couple nights with like my best college friends.
Right.
And so, and I really don't go to weddings. This was an exception because this is a very special group of people. So I go and I do exactly what you did. I start drinking like I'm going to the electric chair because I got to catch up.
Yes.
I got to catch up.
And that's not good.
So I'm at his rehearsal dinner. I don't remember anything. I projectile vomited everywhere at the house. Like I was in the middle of telling a story, like as I do. And I just started throwing up.
Please tell me you timed it with something in the story, and then I fell into a garbage dump, and it was like something.
In all fairness, somebody was passing around a joint, and I don't smoke weed, but like if I'm drunk enough, I'll kind of say yes to stuff. And I took a few hits, and I am highly allergic to those two things combined. It makes me vomit, but I didn't. Now I know that. But what happened is they tried to put me to bed, and then I like a child, like one of my guy friends was like, all right, so you threw up all over like 2 people and then like all over the floor. All over
you
the
threw up
coffee table.
on people?
Yeah.
Oh, because you were probably holding it together right up until the last second.
I was in the middle of telling a story at the foot of the table, like standing up, everyone is sitting, and then I just throw up on like the 2 closest people on the table. And then they like get me to like go to the bedroom where I'm supposed to sleep. Ugh. And then I pop out 15 minutes later like, hey guys! And then I throw up again. And so I woke up in so much vomit. I don't even know how I vomited that much. And the poor guy that's sharing the room with me has to sleep in the room that stinks like vomit. Yeah, he was a good sport.
Oh my good.
Cheers to Yvonne. You're a good sport.
Okay. I want to back up a little bit and just ask some questions for the listeners.
Uh-huh.
Okay, now you are.
I really injected some fun into this wedding, I gotta say.
You did, and I mean, you gave all these boring people something to talk about.
Well, they're
so
not boring, but.
And okay, here's my first question: when you say, because no joke, you are one of the most like you can hold you can hold your
fucking joint,
and that's coming from a dude that can hold it. You can hold it. So what are we talking about? Time length and volume and product.
I have photos.
Drinking? Scotch, vodka, shots.
Oh, that's the thing. So I do have preferences in alcohol, but when I'm like, the destination is drunk, I am just like, who's got what? Like, what's the quickest thing I can get my hands on? So I started out when
I put on your Florida Gators t-shirt like one more time. We're gonna ride for the Gipper.
I know I started at the house because we had to like get like Instacart or whatever.
What time is this?
I think it was probably like 8. Everyone else was there from like 4 o'clock on. So I get there at 8 and I was like, 1 large glass of vodka, please. And I just.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I was fine, though. And then I get to the rehearsal dinner. And now, there's like a cute little cocktail menu and there's champagne. And I was like, straight. I want to say I went to whiskey and I was just glass after glass of whiskey.
Why did you do that?
I like the taste of whiskey better than the taste of vodka, especially like.
But you've committed already.
I know. I was already in too deep.
It's like a person just gets married to a totally different woman a month later, and they're like, "That's illegal and crazy." And it's like, but I also like Corinne. Yeah. Like you just said it like, it's a normal. I married her because I like her too. No, you got married to vodka.
Right.
At
I know.
8.
I should have just sucked it up, but I didn't. So I, proceeded to. I took an Adderall and then I didn't eat anything at the rehearsal, and I was just having the time of my life. Everything was going fine. And then, everything was not so fine when we got back to the house. And by the way, obviously the groom and his wife weren't staying at the house. The house was the party house.
Right.
So he gets the next morning, like all these photos and all, like he's like, oh, nice job, Kaplan. Like this is heading into my wedding day, what I needed.
I do like that he handled it well.
He did.
And he wasn't a groomzilla like, this is my special day. It's like, dude. Your friends, they came here to rip it up. Hey, it's all good. Now, my other question, and because I wasn't figuring out a way to ask this, but was this a party house?
No, it was a super fucking fancy house that we destroyed.
Were any attempts to get food in you so you would have lasted longer? Or you were good right up until you weren't?
I have like a legendary status of being like an incredible drinker. Like there's something called the Beam Team at one of the fraternities, and you have to drink a full. I always screw up the measurement of Jim Beam in order to be on the Beam Team, and like it's really hard to get on the Beam Team. And like I just casually did it, and was like, I don't know if do you have any girl spots on the Beam Team? Like I'm a pretty adept drinker. It was just like that's why I do not mess with weed.
Probably empty stomach too, and just because your stomach's always kind of empty. You're never rolling in somewhere with like that. Now that I said that, it makes your accomplishments that much more. It's like when you found out that somebody set like the NBA scoring record with a torn ligament, where you're like, wow, that was impressive just without even knowing. You never have food in your stomach.
Not usually.
So your alcohol is just going straight to the stomach line and like VIP, like with just a bouncer. You just walk past the line and you're like, I'm right. That's really impressive.
Thank you.
I wish I could drink with you one more time. I think James Allen wishes I could drink with you one more time.
He does. Well, he thinks you do drink with me.
At that airport Chili's in the sky.
Can we go back to the president for a second? Because I have this, I just want to brag about this and I have like nowhere else to do this. And like, it's just not, it's only interesting because the president's I don't know. To me, no, I don't. It's like so uninteresting to talk about the president, but now I feel like everyone talks about presidents. So I want to give you a story of I have one presidential candidate that I know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Current or former?
Is there an election now?
Wow.
I don't know. I think you might be current. Is it possible?
You would go great. Honestly, I've never told anybody this. You would also thrive in Russia. Because the elections don't matter. You're never going to question the politics, and they have a ton of vodka.
The only time I was interested is I found out this man was running, and I was like, oh, that's so crazy. So here's the story. So when I dated a guy who was like a Mormon, but he left the Mormon church to become a kicker on the New York Giants.
Okay.
And that's how we met. Because I associate with most of the Giants players. Yeah. So I was like, who's
and
this
the Rangers.
Cute? Yeah,
yes.
Of course. Let's not stop there.
Yeah, okay. Most of the AFC East.
Yeah. So anyway, I start dating this guy exclusively, actually.
Oh.
And we're dating, and he has, I'm just going to say their names because otherwise it's not going to be interesting. He went to BYU because he's Mormon. And his best friend growing up is Josh Romney, who is Mitt Romney's son. And because Mormons get married at a very young age, when they would come visit, he was already married. I mean, Owen and I were like 24, and his best friend Josh, the same age, but he was already married, and they are so good looking. I don't know if they're still married. I would assume so. But like this guy, Josh Romney, and his wife, Jen, were like just two of the most beautiful looking people you've ever seen.
Right. And
they invited us to Boston, to the Romney compound there. So I went and stayed, and at night, they were extremely respectful. I cannot say enough good things about all, but they don't drink. There's no, they're very Mormon. So at night, you go up to this room that's in like the, I don't know, like the loft, like the highest area of the house. And there's a massive Book of Mormon, and they open it and they read from it at night.
Every night?
Yeah. And so, Mitt was like, we'd like to invite you guys to come, read from the book. And he's like, I know you're Jewish if you don't want. And I was like, no. I'm a free agent. Do your thing. Let me see what this is about.
Right.
And
Did he open it and say, don't smoke this, please?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a callback from our last podcast.
Right. Oh, God. No, I did not mention that to him. Anyways, he was lovely. I didn't really think much of the situation at the time because he was just like, I don't know, fucking senator or what
yeah.
Something like that.
Senator of Utah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's as bad as dating the kicker on the football team,
I mean, that...
A senator is not the president, just like a kicker is not the quarterback.
And so you hung out with Mitt Romney?
Yes, I prayed with him. I stayed at his house for several days. And then a couple years later, I see he's on the ballot. Yeah. And I was like, shit, this man knows my name. If this guy gets elected, like, I've stayed at his house. Who can say that?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I can
Did
say
you see that coming?
Because I met Mitt Romney. That's the one candidate I've ever met. I swear to God, on my grandmother's life.
Wait, isn't he so attractive?
I didn't think that. I was just shocked. And I still have a picture. It's one of my first. It's probably.
See, I didn't think to take a picture because he was just a senator.
Right. No, he had already lost to Obama at this point.
Okay, well, then you knew at least. But you see, okay, so I ask you, I want to hear a story, but I ask you, is there an election? And will he run? Because isn't his name thrown around? I don't know.
He's not going to run. He's done.
Well, maybe I could convince him.
Yeah, he doesn't have much of a fan base, seeing that they tried to kill him on January 6th. I think he's like, I can't rely on you people. But yeah, I met Mitt Romney. One of the few times I was flying out of Burbank in L.A., and I had to go through Salt Lake City somewhere I was going. And I never do that, never route through Salt Lake City. And I never fly to Burbank. I fly to LAX. And so the Burbank, the Salt Lake City airport, like, is kind of small and just chill, and it's what you think the Salt Lake City airport would be.
I mean, not anymore. It's not. They have a new airport that's horrendous. But yes,
is it big now?
Oh, it's a massive.
This was like a small, chill
airport.
It
was a pleasant airport, and you could get your rental car and get out of there within like 30 minutes. Nothing.
By the way, that's when you know you're in a small city, when you can walk out of the Avis and your car is like out of the double doors. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, Mitt Romney. I come out of the bar, of course. And Mitt Romney is just standing in line at the for business class, because it's such a small plane. I don't even know if there's first. And I kept staring at him, and I turned to this dude. I was like, "Is that Mitt Romney?" He goes, "Yeah, I know, because I voted for that dude." And I was like, "Word." So I just walked over and I was like, can I get a picture with you? And he goes, yeah, just don't make a big deal of it. So I'll send you the picture. We will post it.
We'll post it.
It's probably from 2014. It's one of my first probably 10 Instagram photos of all time. Like, that's how new Instagram was. That it's like, the picture's terrible. I have a weird haircut. I'm like 20 pounds heavier than I am now. It's just a weird, that was like old drinking now. But yeah, shout out to Mitt Romney, man of the people.
Yeah.
The Mormons are so nice that you keep expecting, like, what are y'all doing? And they're not doing anything. I've done cruises where it's all Mormon. And you've never lied, girl. As a
they're so
people,
attractive. Jesus Christ.
They're so attractive.
I don't even understand how there's not a bald one, there's not a fat one. I mean, they're just attractive.
Right.
Really attractive.
Because, and I know there's that whole like thing with like, oh, they don't mix gene pools or whatever, but doesn't that usually
that it should be resulting in eyes too far apart?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Shit. How do they get around the whole?
There's enough of them, I guess. I don't know.
I think maybe the ones that have like the 4 or 5 wives, they don't hang out in Salt Lake City. I think they're like in the outskirts.
Yeah, they're in St. George.
Yeah, anytime you need to go behind a rock to start your family, they're doing something shady back there.
That's a great documentary.
Yeah. There's a bunch. I didn't realize like how, because I always used to be like, how did these Mormon dudes have so much money? A lot of them use the dudes because like they want the daughters. So the dudes, it's like the reverse Game of Thrones where they just like they want the daughters because then the dudes trade the daughters to each other. So they're like, oh, Al, I see your 18-year-old's 18. We'll say that. Yeah. Your 18-year-old is looking good. I'm like, yeah, man, your oldest Valerie, she's pretty too. And there's just a little, the dudes, they're like, what can we do with these? So they teach them how to do construction early. And that's why they have so much money. You can't compete with them because they're expert craftsmen and they work for basically nothing. Mm-hmm. So that's why because I was watching like, Sister Wives or whatever. I was like, how does this dude with a white dude perm have 4 cribs with a wall around it? I'm like, how does this dude? There was like, he's a businessman. I'm like, businessman.
I would love to know how they got like figured out to make that show. Like, how did they find Cody? I mean, I was really into it in the beginning. I haven't watched it in a long time just because like after we all got Netflix and whatever, I don't even know where it exists.
Right.
But when they brought the new hot wife in, it's very exciting. But now she's not hot anymore either.
Yeah, there's a cloud of sad you're walking into, which is the other 3 wives where they're just like, yeah, I remember when I was you. They're like, we got a new fish toy here. Yeah. They're real women's lockup with it. Yeah, I watched Seeking Sister Wife for a while with the black couple.
There's a black one?
Yes.
I didn't know they make them in black.
Yeah, they do. Well, and it's not even the Mormon. It's just the open marriage. And it's usually just the dude. There's actually, because they follow like, I don't know, over the course of 3 seasons, they follow maybe 3 or 4 couples, and 2 or 3 of the 4 are black. But it's weird because, I always thought if you're going to have sister wives or whatever, you had to make some dough, have a crib for each one of them. But other people are like, yo, you're going to be next to Lenny's room. And like, there's everything. All you need is one person. They'd be like, I'm down. And they're like, some of the women coming in are like, low level fine. I'm like, dude, like this, like, and the guys are like, yeah, I'm a basketball coach at a middle school and I fix up old tow trucks. And you're like, what? Like, they're not like these incredibly high powered dudes.
Yeah. I mean, they're also, you're right that they live in nice places, but they usually don't, like, they're not wearing Gucci. No one's got,
Yeah. Well, I have a proposal for you.
Okay. Go for it. Let me hear it.
Me and my girl want to make you our sister wife.
Oh.
No sex. We just want you in the house.
Wow.
I think we could coexist as a one leg of the triangle has sex. The other 2 don't.
But what's my purpose in the house? Just to be like extra conversation?
You're like the most fun person we've ever met. So it's strictly a one-sided.
Just entertainment.
But hey, we'll cut those bills in half.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
I mean, there is something to be said for that.
Yeah. So look.
I'll consider it.
Okay. Well, thank you. Mm-hmm. All right. What else you got for us today?
So I have a bunch of things I'm going to be a little all over the place here, but
that's how we love it.
I know. I have a couple of patrons wrote in with different things that I just think are fun, and I thought we would address them. So first and foremost, we have our very first ever bang or buy from a patron.
it's catching on because people love it as much as I do.
Yeah, we want
you hear
you guys.
it in my voice? I'm excited. I love these. I love to think about stuff like this.
We totally want you guys to write in and let us weigh in on your own banger buys. So this is what he said. He said, banger buy, down under edition. Please meet Nick, 6'3", IT sales, looking for a monogamous relationship. So we're starting strong, people. Then we take a look at his Instagram. He's 7 months deep into van life. What a cute euphemism for unemployed.
Yeah.
But when we get to Nick's Q&A portion of Hinge, and that's where things start to become unhinged, quite literally. Please review and answer me one question. Do I bang or buy? And then he wrote in parentheses, I do it all for the story, right? So now I'm going to enlighten you with what this guy's profile said. So he said, first, under let's make sure we're on the same page about relationships are about closeness with an element of distance. I like to be in a team, but my space helps me play the best, have interests and friends. Okay, the grammar's terrible. He makes no sense. I like relationships are about closeness with an element of distance.
That's
what I'm talking about.
That's really kind of your thing.
That's really my thing.
Maybe you might be knocking on that van door.
Yeah, I'm out on the van life.
The van life is so whack. I'm so done with this. Like, I'm a free spirit. I got to go out there and see the world. There's nothing out there. It's hotels. And do you want to go to the beach? Okay. But I hate when people look at the beach and ponder things.
No.
Shut up, dude. You're not thinking any deeper because you're staring at water that's next to dirt. Who cares? Stop acting like that's where all your good thoughts come from.
I mean, we went over this on one of the last episodes. I went out with a guy who was incredibly tall, but he also put in his profile he was retired. And I was like, it's so incredible. He's like my age and he's retired. So when I get to dinner, he picks a nice spot. We start, talking, and I immediately am like, what is it that you do that you're retired? And he's like, well, I don't know what the proper word is for this, but he exchanges goods on Amazon. And so he said,
a wholesaler?
He's like, I figured out some things that Amazon doesn't sell a lot of, and there was a market for it but no supply, and so he chose plumbing supplies. It feels like there's plenty of those, but some kind of water drain, something like that, something related to that.
I'm already bored.
I know, but I was like, but I'm still okay, I'm just trying to retire as soon as possible. So
right.
Tell me. And he's like, so he goes, I got a wholesaler in another country to produce these. He said he did a project where he said you can ask inventors, artists, whatever, on this platform. You can give 3 people will submit their offers to you, and whichever one you pick, you have to then pay them to do the project. So 3 people submit. He picks a guy, and he's never met the guy, but he's been working with him now for 8 years. And he produces this product, and then he just resells it on Amazon, and he makes a chunk of change. Not a chunk. I mean, I don't know. He makes $18 per. I mean, I don't know. This was bizarre, but he's explaining, and I am deep in this story. What can I sell? Well, can you give me the name of the because this it's free to solicit these ideas from inventors of what you want. Can you make a pipette? Whatever So he tells me all of this, and then I said, so I referenced, I feel like he lived in Longmont. I was like, where do you live? And he was like, well, I live in my, what's the silver thing that you think of Matthew McConaughey in? It looks like a goddamn tin can.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I mean, an RV.
No, it's
called. But it's
a
house bubble.
Yeah, it's called being poor.
We interviewed McConaughey, and he was in that.
Yeah. That's the only, the idea is you have a mansion, then you have that to travel with. That's all he had. And he was 6'6", and he was living in that thing. And he mentioned that he had a German Shepherd. So that's what's going on in this tomato soup can. In there?
Can you imagine the shoe funk with the dog breath against the window, metal tin can?
Imagine this.
So
you
gross.
are retired, which means, I could retire too if I wanted to live like that.
Right.
But he's retired, so he's not doing anything all day. So he's just shuffling around. I don't even think he can stand up in the thing. If at the very least, if I'm retired, I'd love a mansion where I could play pool. I got things to do. Why would I want to live in that shoebox?
I'd be like, hey guys, I'll see you in Central America. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
I would be kicking it in Panama with a dead car, former dealer's mansion. I didn't even say the C word.
Airstream, got it.
Oh, that's what they're called.
Airstream.
Okay.
Shit, man. It's been a while since I've told that story. Yeah. So Anyways, so let me get back to, I lost my train of thought.
Well, while you're doing that, I just want to tell everybody really quickly, it's the old trend was ditch your day job, the big resignation, go get out there and see the world and have a dove land on your hand and realize that the world is all one. That's over now. The adults are back in the room.
Right.
Go to work, see your therapist, try and catch a workout every day, and find somebody that you can tolerate. But I'm so tired of this free spirit. First of all, I've done that life, but I was getting paid. It's not fun.
It's
sleeping in random beds every night and eating food with a plastic knife and fork like Jeffrey Epstein. It sucks after a while. So, and I did fun stuff, and it still sucks. So don't tell me I did the whole East Coast. Yeah, that means that you drove a lot through just nothing. So unless you're escaping something, stop with that. Go do something fun. Or volunteer.
It's not for me. Van life is certainly not for me. He then goes on to say, my most controversial opinion is, we are using up our resources. Humans are the result of genetic tampering. Gods and aliens are interchangeable. The end is nigh, but it will be okay. So, this Unabomber. So, what do you say? Bang or bye? Now, he's good looking. I saw the photos, and he's 6'3". But you got all of this going on.
Okay, before I give a snap judgment, because I'll listen back and be like, I didn't hear what she said. So just read the last 5 sentences, please.
We are using up our resources. Humans are the result of genetic tampering. Gods and aliens are interchangeable. The end is nigh, but it will be okay.
Okay, he's like that's not a Unabomber. That's a person that thinks that they're in a cult where they're going to drink the Kool-Aid and then they're going to catch the comet on the way. Remember?
Haley's Comet.
Yeah, the Haley's Bop people, whatever. That's what that is. Gods and aliens are in. This is just a mistake, and like whatever he has named for his God is going to come get us. So the first time you have dinner at his house, he will poison your wine, and then he'll tell you and be like, "Good news, we're going to go see Yakaba soon," and you're like, "Oh no, no, you cannot, engage with that." Look. Crazy can't be dealt with. It's like the Terminator. It can't be reasoned with. It's going to keep coming after you.
Yeah.
And she needs to be very wary.
It's a dude on dude.
Yeah. Oh, this dude doesn't matter. That's the best thing about my advice. It doesn't matter.
No, it definitely doesn't matter.
You need to be very careful, my friend, because and this is what I always worry about with social media, and what I always talk about on the show with like when a famous person calls out like when Lizzo called out that Uber driver for dropping her food off late. It's like Lizzo goes on with her life and she gets to be Lizzo. That person is gonna get flooded with crazy people. Like 15,000 people are gonna tell her to kill herself. 10,000 people will say, "I'm gonna kill you."
Be Googleable.
Yes.
By that information.
That will be forever. 5,000 will be like, I know where you live. 100 will be like, here's a screenshot of where you live, and I know where you work, and I know what your kids look like. And 5 of those people might come. And that's what, out of 15,000 crazy Lizzo fans that are insane, which everybody, if you have fans, you have insane fans, 5 will be you can't lose them. And that's the kind of person that you can't just like me or Corinne, you could lose us real quick. Like a couple like unanswered texts, we'd be like, got it, bro. But like some people are not going away. And if you, Corinne, he might think he's another entity. And like, if he wants to take you with him, my friend listening, or any of us, just understand that he will. Like people get killed, dude, from crazy people you meet.
I would say that if you were to go this route, you use an alias. You don't use your real name. You use a Google number if you need to exchange numbers. You don't tell them where you live.
Can you tell if it's a Google number?
If you call it, I think you can. Like,
because the ring sounds weird.
I think I'm trying to remember if that's no one's ever given me a fake Google number, or at least not in recent memory. But I feel like there is a way, like I think after it rings a certain amount of times, it says like this. I'm not positive, but there is a way to tell that it's a Google number. I don't think
there was a period of time where people had like 3 phones. Like friends I knew that like they had like
there was a song, 2 phones.
Yeah, what song was that?
It was a rap song. I got 2 phones. No.
I love that, but I'm sure it was. But like I think I kind of remember that, but I got to look it up now. Yeah, there used to be a time when there
phone.
were like 2 or 3 phones people would have in the bat phone, but now I feel like I don't see that anymore.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that just the Google number effect?
Shit, I don't know. I guess.
Yeah, there's just things you don't see. That used to be the thing. Is like I would have a homegirl come and just like put 3 phones on the thing and be like, anyways, it works crazy. And it wasn't crazy to have, and maybe 3 like different, like Verizon, Nextel.
I did work for a company that insisted if I wanted them to pay my cell phone bill, they had to take over my number. So that or I had 2 phones.
That's what an old black man that's like going to pay your rent would say. Like, listen, girl, I'll get your phone. But I get to check your text.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
And I was so cheap that I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then I really regretted it.
Why?
Well, they were privy to anything I did if they wanted to be.
Well, I would say get a second phone, but then you just keep your original. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I ended up quitting, and so that was the end of that.
Yes, and they're like, guess who has all your phone records?
I know. I had to get that number back from them.
Lots of texts at 3:34 in the morning. That's weird. Hate for those to get leaked.
Okay, I have a random funny Facebook marketplace. So as you guys know, I love Facebook. It's the only app. What would you call it? App, I guess.
That's the only thing you call it.
Okay, what
else would you call it?
Because I go to it on
it's not a solid building. You go. Are you going to Facebook every day?
Website, because I go to it on my laptop.
You go to Facebook on your laptop?
I do.
You're such a crazy person. That would never.
Yeah, I prefer it on my laptop.
I would never. That would never. First of all, to go to Facebook, something has to be happening. But like to just be like, nah, I'm the www.interwebs.facebook.dos. Oh my God.
But I don't go there to look at people's like statuses. I go there for express purpose of looking at some of my favorite sites, one of which is the buy and sell marketplace.
Okay.
And I every now and then come across really fun shit on there.
And it's just a front for stolen pirates.
I don't even care if that's the case. I mean, I've sold things on there that weren't stolen. I mean, I sold stuff on there. I mean, one would say that I took my life in my hands by getting someone to come to, I live alone, to my home to pick up stuff during the pandemic when I was trying to sell my workout equipment. But like, I was selling like a set of 4-pound dumbbells for like, $12, and I was soliciting multiple offers. Like
trying to run the number up. I bought 16.
The most embarrassing thing ever when I sold a rug that was in my living room. I was getting a new rug, and I was like, I will try and sell anything. I think it's fun, and so it's like very it's a clean rug, but it's the sun stained parts of it. Right. So like it's really not usable. But I didn't make that clear. Anyways, when we meant to make the exchange, I always do it through Venmo. And when it's somebody that's not in your contact list, so the girl is like, okay, I need the last 4 digits of your phone number, so that she can pay me.
Right.
And I give them to her, and she's like, it's not working. And I was like, I don't understand. Why isn't it working? And she's like, I don't know. And you guys, I forgot my fucking phone number. And I've had it since college. I forgot it. I don't know. I don't use my own phone number that often. So I twisted one of the digits, and it was so embarrassing. And so then I go, I'm sorry, I just got this phone. It's not true. I've had it since literally college.
Yeah, that's super weird. You would say I just got this number, so that's how you know you lied. And you don't look like a person that's like going through phones.
No, or numbers.
Yes, that's.
It was so embarrassing. It's why,
Is it more embarrassing than going to Facebook on a laptop?
No,
on a desktop.
On the desktop.
Oh my God!
And that my company can definitely see. Okay, so what I found was for $75, it is a sex positioning pillow. I have a blue microfiber Liberator Intimate Sex Positioning Pillow in the carrier case for sale. It's been in storage, but it's in great condition and delivers a divine incline for deeper penetration and G-spot navigation. It's the perfect combination of support and comfort. I have cleaned it and sanitized it. There are no stains, and it comes from a smoke-free home. Now, I want to know $75 is a lot. And the picture of it just looks like a neck pillow.
Let me see it, because I'm about to tell you something crazy.
You have a sex positioning pillow?
No, but this story is...
I don't have the picture. I saw it, though. It was just like a triangle blue microfiber. $75 used. How much is it fucking not used.
Yeah, I think they're expensive. And this is the crazy thing. It with just you saying that and just like my life coming full circle. When my dad was obviously still alive, but definitely like he was getting older and he wasn't like as sharp as he used to be.
You thought you'd get him a sex pillow?
No, even deeper than that. He calls me. He goes, God, this is so crazy because I've never told anybody this because I think I probably told my ex-wife this because I was like, yo, it's crazy. We were married at the time. And my dad calls me and I'm just driving. It's like 4 p.m, just regular weekday. He goes, do you know a factory where I could get a number of pillows made? And I was like, what? Like my dad was a lawyer. Like we never discussed this. He's like 72 at this point. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just like, yeah, no. I go, what's up? And he goes, well, I have an idea for a design and I'm just going to need to make a mass number of them. And I was like, well, a lot of times what you do is
start a prototype.
Yeah, I was like, well, to get a prototype and then you can maybe
see if there's a market for
yeah,
it.
and then sell the idea or do it yourself, which I don't know if you want to do at 72. And so he goes, come over and I'll show you the design. So I'm like, all right.
Oh my God.
So this is so weird. I'm ever telling because it wouldn't make any sense out of context. So I go to his crib and my dad has sketched out a pillow and this
is so bizarre.
Above the design, it just said the Bedpony.
That's a way better name.
No, I'm like,
oh no.
I'm like, y'all have to understand the reason I'm talking slowly is because I've never like allowed myself to think about this.
The Bedpony.
The Bedpony, and it was basically like a pillow, but almost like a little bit harder than that, almost like hard foam, like? Almost, yeah. And it was like if you picture like a 3-dimensional triangle. So
yeah,
like
that's what this looked like.
My dad was ahead of his time.
Oh my God!
Like
that's 100% what this looked like.
Because and he was like, it's for amputees, and it's like, oh, we laugh
but
and
to
everything.
fuck, right?
Yes. The Bedpony. What do you think else is for? Propping yourself up to watch the People's Court.
I guess. Like,
I'm sure some people are using it like that the wrong way. Like this thing in my back makes it hard to watch TV. So hard.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So like my dad had invented, and I'll never forget this phrase.
Wait.
He goes, yeah, the only thing is, it has to be made out of something you can wash or wash off. And I just remember my dad saying that phrase to me, and I was like, I can never unhear that.
No.
And my dad was ahead of his time with the Bedpony. My dad told me that idea 11 or... My dad's been dead for 6 years.
I think in memoriam
like,
we should start selling those.
The Bedpony.
Put them on merch. It'll say my safe word is more.
I think I might still have the schematics.
Oh.
Because I saved all my dad's documents. Like I cleaned out my dad's place when he passed away. And everybody complains about, oh, my partner's OCD or I'm so OCD. My dad was really OCD. Cleaning out his place was easy peasy.
Yeah,
everything is labeled. Car insurance, will, the soaps in like the bathroom closet are like lined up like they would be at CVS, like with inventory.
Yeah.
It was like a spy lived in my dad's crib. It was, such an organized human being. Such a crazy, I'll tell you, did I ever talk about when he went to jail?
He went to jail?
Yes.
For what?
We never talked.
Maybe that's where I got the idea for the Bedpony.
Man,
I mean.
So it's just like the story about how I met my sister. It's sad, but I think it's, again, like why you and I think, are weirdly designed well for this world, because I don't expect any good from people for the most part. I expect people to be vengeful and do what's best for them. But anyway, long story short, my dad was a pretty famous lawyer in Cleveland for his entire career, like a well-known, well-respected attorney. He had a place called Jackson & Jackson Law Offices, with my Uncle Gerald. And my dad practiced law for probably, he started late. He started law school like 40. So
really?
Yeah. My dad kicked it until he met my mom. And again, more proof that like I'm definitely on the spectrum, and my dad was 1,000,000,000% on the spectrum. First of all, lawyer, a lot of people on the spectrum gravitate, but just like how regimented he was, and like as soon as my mom was like, I'm pregnant, 2.5 pack a day cigarette, quick cold turkey, drank Johnny Walker every day, quick cold turkey.
Wow.
Never, ever, ever thought about it again. I quit drinking cold turkey, never thought about it again.
Wow.
And
That's
so,
a superpower.
yeah, my dad was like a really buttoned up guy.
Yes. Why? Please tell me you paid off a high priced hooker.
No, that was the other thing.
Or he was the lawyer that hush moneyed it. What?
My dad wouldn't even. That's the thing, and this is why. And I hope I'm not taking forever to get to the story, but you have to understand who my dad was for this to make sense. Otherwise, you're going to be like bullshit. My dad was on the spectrum. He did not care about the things that other people do. Like one of the famous stories my Uncle Joe tells about my dad's, like they were lawyers in the 80s. And, you sign contracts at the strip club because that's where your client was. Your client was a strip club owner and he's in some shit. And so he's like, strip clubs were not my dad. Like my dad, there's no way. And the story goes, my dad was waiting for the contract to get signed, and a stripper came on set and sat on my dad's lap, and he leaned forward and he just goes, no. And I just pointed my finger in Corinne's face like she did earlier in this podcast, but it was such a like direct no, not yet. My dad, again, spectrum, doesn't yell. I don't yell. And like, but it was so stern that it just like killed the vibe in the camera. I was like, Jesus Christ. Like that was not my dad. My whole life, I never saw my dad eat anything except Stouffer's frozen meals. So he's kind of like you in that way.
Yeah.
And he would make steaks and he would make spaghetti. He would eat oranges and he would watch, they're the Cleveland Guardians now, but he used to watch Cleveland Indians games, eating saltines and tuna fish. And that is the only thing he ate.
So he probably thrived in prison.
Right. Yeah.
Got saltines.
Maybe. Because skipping ahead a little bit, when he got to prison, first of all, lawyers are very valuable because you can read people's stuff. But also, it was such bullshit. My dad, basically, long story short, you need to understand, like, my dad never ordered food at a restaurant in front of me, ever. My dad didn't buy anything, ever. He had no use for monetary things. He didn't want anything. He never bought a designer anything in his life. He never talked about, like, I want to get a boat. My dad, he loved the law, because I think when you're on the spectrum, you love the words and the laws and how they move around your head. And the idea of, like, you buying a Cadillac takes away from you thinking about the law. Like, my dad didn't give a shit. So, okay, so here's where everything went down. He had this woman named Renee, who I think died. I hope she did. I hope it was slow.
Wow.
I do. She was a family friend for a long time. She worked at the mall somewhere. This is in the 80s. She fell off a ladder at work, broke her back, and was on lifetime disability, but you can't work. But a lot of times that's not enough to make ends meet.
Oh.
So she asked my dad, she was like, can I just do office work around, so like she would come pick us up when my dad was in court and stuff like that and just drop us off, and she'd go get coffee filters or whatever. And so during this time, she was stealing checks from petty cash and writing them out to herself, like $200, $300, $400 at a time. And again, my dad cared nothing about money. He was not looking. He wouldn't notice. And my dad walked around with like $800 on him. But this was the 80s, So my dad, like, it was not a thing, And so this went on for God knows how long. Long story short, she gets audited. They're like, "Yo, who are all these past checks from?" They came from my dad's firm, and you got to remember, being a black lawyer in Cleveland coming up in the 60s and 70s, you think you ain't got no enemies down there?
Oh,
they took that as an opportunity. They got my dad on like wire fraud or something, like paying somebody that shouldn't have been working or whatever.
Yeah, under the table.
Paying somebody under the table. And this is like what an honorable dude he was. They told him he could have kept his law license if he just admitted guilt, and he was like, I didn't do anything wrong. Because that's how linear. So, of course, he went to trial and lost. He did 2.5 years. They were trying to give him 5. He was like 62,
Jesus,
63.
This poor guy.
And it's just like, first of all, my dad got more time than the fucking bling ring.
That's so crazy.
2.5 more times. My dad did 2.5 years at 62. And they took his law license, so when he comes out...
What about this bitch? Nothing happened to
I
her?
think she went to jail, but she cooperated. You know, so I don't know what happened.
Cooperated?
Yeah.
She fucking stole the checks. Owning crime.
Yeah, and so like this is like front page of the newspaper. When people read the newspaper, like the judge, they had like she was crying as a black woman. She was like, "You've done so much for the lawyers." My dad was like the best dude. You know, it was like really a real... Maybe that like is what kind of set me on my path, but just like... I was like, oh, there's no justice. So, like, don't be mad about anything. So I'm not... That's why, like, when somebody goes, can you believe that Trump said black people are lazy? I'm like, all right. Yeah, of course he said that. Why wouldn't he? He's not going to get any repercussions. There's no repercussions for, like, real bad people. It's like we got Jeffrey Epstein. Did we? He was doing it for 30 years. Harvey Weinstein, 50 years. Bill Cosby, 50 years. Yeah. Like, yeah, we're on top of that. We'll see you in a half a century. R. Kelly's making songs about it.
Yeah.
You know, but I digress. I know where I live. I love human beings. I think our cultures have something to be desired. But, you know, seeing that happen and seeing an innocent man, that is the irony is that he had no use for money, Corinne. Like, he didn't want anything ever. Never. And so no season tickets, no... Here's some rims on the car. No, hey, let's go to this really nice steakhouse. My dad wouldn't eat at a restaurant if you drove him there in a limousine and 2 women were massaging his back like he was about to go fight the heavyweight champ. He didn't want that.
Yeah.
He would just drink black coffee at Denny's and we eat. That was my whole childhood, is being at Denny's and Perkins, me, him, and my sister. But anyway, he went to jail. Mm-hmm. There's a real backstory for you.
Yeah. He
comes out of jail. He's disbarred. At that point, they might as well have killed him, because him not being able to practice the law was like, you know, I like a singer losing their voice. It's like, I don't want to. They're like, no, you can hang out. Like my dad, I feel like he willed himself to die. Like he didn't. First of all, he came out and moved to Atlanta, which we had no connections. We were in Cleveland at the time, but I think he like
He had to reset.
Like ostracize himself. Like when you're like, you have shamed the village, you must go live in the woods or some shit.
Yeah.
I feel like it was like that, you know? So my dad, you know, he was up in Cleveland and we're having this conversation about the Bedpony, and I go over there and I'm looking at it and I was like, I think my dad has lost his mind. You know?
Well,
literally, I was like, I think my dad has lost his mind. But now I find out, he's like Doc Brown from Back to the Future.
Yeah.
This has been a life-altering podcast.
Such a weird coincidence that you met the same presidential candidate I did, and your dad. I mean, I look at this Facebook Marketplace every single day. It's what I do.
That is so.
And I saw this, and it jumped out at me as just like a bizarre thing to resell.
Yeah.
Feels like, I know that you sanitize. First of all, how'd you sanitize it?
Yeah.
Really? Come on.
Yeah.
How?
And
you blue light it? I mean,
honestly, bro, you need to do that in front of me. I need to see it. I need an in-person sanitation situation. But there's a lot of people that don't go to a workout class every day and don't have incredible core strength like you, Mrs. Kaplan. And sometimes you need a prop if you ain't got no leg. You ever think about like how hard it would be to balance with one leg?
Look, I've seen people do it in the sex club. Oh. I don't think about that often. I am not averse to I feel like if you're going to get one, don't get it used. I mean, I wouldn't buy a used mattress either. Just not
Neither
my vibe.
No, but like if you're getting a used mattress, it's because you're in a state of emergency. Let's be honest, a used mattress is like, things ain't great. Right. Things ain't great. Yeah. And so like no one's like, yo, we got like 100 racks in the bank, but like, you want to go get this used mattress that someone definitely died on as recently as this weekend? Like, no, you can't get a used mattress under any situation. But something, because definitely bed bugs. Like,
of course.
Of course.
Yes.
So we got some emails too.
Yeah, we have time for one email, I think.
Oh, we're only at, we got time for one.
Sorry, I was not reading the time right. Okay. My safe word is more advice at gmail.com.
Yes, into us. And tell people about our Patreon. They can find it.
Yes, so we are starting our Patreon, and we are organizing what we will be doing. We're thinking about doing something like a Google Hang or like something, well, I guess nobody does that anymore, but like a Zoom, get everyone in the same room kind of thing once a month.
Corinne, I'm going to need to stop you.
Yeah.
We're trying to get people to get excited about joining us, and the first thing you throw at them is Google.
I don't know. It was in my fucking head. I'm like, listen.
If you want to join us in Alt Dungeons and Dragons chat room, in which all language is allowed. That was the weirdest.
Why did you
Google Hang.
I don't know anything about anything. I am an old lady.
We will make sure that the Patreon is promoted and that you can find it on the website and our Instagrams.
And we are trying,
and our Google Hang. Jesus.
And my MySpace page and my Friendster page. And we are, we love putting this podcast out, but it does cost money to do that. So we are, trying to figure out how to offset just the
literally. This isn't something we're trying to get rich from.
No.
We had dinner together and we're like, we want to talk to each other, and we're glad you guys listen. So we were doing what we would do anyway. But yes, these lights ain't free.
That's right.
These chairs aren't free. You know what is free? The advice we're about to give.
It sure is.
My man's here. So this person, I'm just going to leave you totally anonymous. We're not even going to do.
Well, I can never get that part right.
I know, right? Yeah, edit. So, okay, it says, "Hi, Corinne and Al. I recently discovered a notification on my dad's phone. It seemed to be a message from some hot girl, so I assumed it was spam. The next night, I heard a notification on his phone, checked it, and found another notification. Same app, different girl.
What?
This time, her username and photo were pretty suggestive.
Opening of this podcast, we were talking about getting caught because you have your notifications on. This is it.
Dad should listen to our podcast. Since his iPhone was locked, I could only see that this was a message, no other preview. So Dad's doing shady stuff because no old dad knows how to turn that preview off.
Of course not.
Dude, he went on like a YouTube video by another creepy dad that's just like, look, first of all, you turn your location off. Here's what you say to your wife. So Dad did not figure that out. So I'll continue. Upon doing some recon, I found out that the app is Telegram, and the second girl is a sex worker with a big following. She also works at a strip club 40 minutes from our house.
Convenient.
And the bikini coffee stand 10 minutes from home. This girl's a hustler.
Wow.
Can you imagine what her
how bad
like?
Are you at hoeing that you've got to still serve coffee?
Maybe.
Barista? Come on.
You need to recharge.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm going to drink coffee anyway. I might as well do it. Yeah.
I guess.
Okay. So I don't know how far he has gone with this, how many girls there are, or anything really. My next step is to try and break into his phone at some point and snoop more. My parents are about 60, have been married for over 30 years, and are just as codependent as Dale and Fred.
Those are my parents.
Oh, that's all. Yeah, it's a fan. We have a small family, and I'm moving to the opposite coast in 4 months. Any advice on this high-level investigation? And if I find out he's cheating, do I blow my family up? This is the kind of problem I can only trust with experts such as yourselves. Can't wait to hear if you have any thoughts on this one. Thank you both. Let's do first things first.
Okay, so
let me read you both questions again. I'll set the table so you hear it again. He wants to know any advice on this high-level investigation, and if I find out he's cheating, do I blow my family up?
Okay, so I think breaking into the phone is a good idea because obviously you're going to need a mountain of evidence that this is actually going on. So I want to understand here. So this is not an OnlyFans on like dad's just watching porn. This is he's ordering services on an app, Telegram apparently, that you order
Talk about an app for boomers.
Yeah, I know, right?
Stagecoach is Uber.
Okay, so you really obviously you need to get more information before you start to panic. And I also, if your parents are as codependent as mine, and I definitely want to know nothing about my parents' sex life, I would say that there's absolutely no way if my father was going to do anything that my mom wouldn't know or like be a part of it. So I just want to caution you that it's possible you get the information and then you go and you confront your mom, and your mom actually knew and approved of this and like was involved and is now like embarrassed. So you're going to need to get, in my opinion, a lot of facts in order before you do anything. I'm trying to think about usually breaking into an old man's phone, go with the year he was married, go with I mean, like, there's probably, like, I feel like it's not that hard to break in.
I don't know. It depends on if if you can scan his face while he's sleeping.
People still do the face thing?
Yeah, I do the face thing.
Do I do the face
thing? To get in your thing? I couldn't imagine life without the face thing.
I got a
now.
4-digit password. Is that
Yeah,
not
I have
normal?
that too, but only if my face thing doesn't work.
Yeah.
This is.
Yeah, I guess how do you break into phones now?
It's not. I don't know. I'm sure. You know what? I can call my ex-wife. She might know.
Yeah,
because my mom said one time she was like, she has a gift for snooping. Like everything I ever did, she found out.
Well, I know you can break.
I was shady. Mm-hmm. She's my ex-wife. Whatever my ex-wife could find out, I can ask her.
I mean, I know you can break into a phone. Like, never mind the face. If it can't read your face, it'll keep asking you for the password, and you have 10 tries. Because when my best friend passed away, I needed to break into her phone and to delete a bunch of things,
right?
As a good best friend would, right. And that's what we did. We
upload a bunch of pictures of breakfast in front of a church.
We kept attempting, and we ended up coming up with her niece's birthday.
And it hit? Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness!
We broke into everything.
That really was your friend. That's kind of beautiful, man.
Yeah. So
you knew it. That's wild.
Yeah, and it didn't take us that long to get to that. We broke into everything. Yeah. Wow. Facebook or Instagram. Yeah.
But I wonder if you can do that. If something happened to me, could you take my phone to Verizon and be like, "This is my podcast partner"?
No, I don't think you can.
What if it's my wife?
I don't think you can do that. No, I think you need. From what I know, from when I had somebody stalking me and crank calling me, like, you need a warrant to pull the numbers. So I think you'd probably need a warrant to break into someone's phone. Like what you're saying.
I think because I think the police do when they get pedophile cases. I think
it's pretty. You can't do that. But I bet you it's not. I just feel like if you know somebody really well, like you definitely know him, you probably could figure it out.
Or just find a nerd. There's nerds
who can like jailbreak a phone.
Yeah, because nerds know nerds, and like I say that because first of all, nerds run the world. There's no shade. I'm just saying, like it's weird. I feel like the nerd culture has been co-opted. Not to get on with some other things, but like everybody's like I'm a nerd. But find like really somebody that's into tech, the kind of person that's like I build computers because I'm bored. If they don't know how, they know a dude, or they know a shorty that knows how to do that. So there's way. Stop being so suburbs with it. And, like, if you're going to do this, dog, you can't go through traditional Christian methods. You have to, like, probably call somebody that knows this kind of thing or knows where they sell jailbroken phones.
But the problem is if you jailbreak a phone, it resets. You're not going to be able to see what that person did.
Oh.
It just, you just basically, now you can sell it on the black market or whatever.
Do you want to know what Shady Al thinks? You got to get in that iCloud. Which probably is easier because you can go, Dad, I need your password for the computer, and it's probably similar.
Okay, all right. So yes to all of these. So let's use some of these tactics and see if we can get more information before we do anything else. But I just have to say, like, I'm heartbroken that this could even be the case. But I don't know. I hold strong that if it is, your mom's involved.
Yes, and might be involved in ways that you don't want to know. So this is that, I forgot what movie. I think it was the movie The Untouchables, and they were about to break into Al Capone's like illegal liquor business, and the FBI agents were like, "Once we kick in this door, you can't go back." Mm-hmm. Think about that with your dad's phone, because you're gonna see some stuff, bro. So are you ready to do this, or are you ready to just be like, I don't know, which he functionally does not? And understand that you're not supposed to know everything in this world. And especially the relationship that your parents may or may not be protecting. I always say...
Well, there's another side to that coin, unfortunately. Because I'm really putting myself in your position because I feel for you. Like, if your parents are like my parents, it would be just, like, monumentally... it would break my heart. I couldn't even imagine it. Mm-hmm. But here's the problem. If you decide I'm not gonna, let's say you confirm these things and you're gonna take the risk because you want to you're deciding either to tell your mother or not tell your mother, and then your mother can say, actually, I'm aware, or what, at least it's very embarrassing, but it's a thing we're doing, whatever.
Right.
Or she's going to be shocked and it's going to completely like ruin her entire world. The problem you have is if you don't say anything, which I think my first inclination would be not to say anything. your mom eventually is going to die, and when she does, you're going to think to yourself, like, did I not give her an opportunity to better her life, to know this secret? Like, it's like a burden on you.
But what does it benefit, though? Because I'm assuming his parents are in their 60s, right? Okay, so you tell, let's say you're right. You figure it out that it's the year that the Broncos won the Super Bowl, and that was the password. You find it. It says, every text is, I am cheating on your mom. Here are the pictures. Here are the pictures. Here are the positions. You now know all this. You, as a good son, report this to your mom. Here's your life, and I'm going to hand you this phone and shatter your life. So now your mom's 64.
So you obviously...
Her life is in shambles.
Yeah.
So when you go better her life, if she was 24, 34, 44,
I don't know.
But at 64, you're pulling into that last lap. Do you want to be on our time swiping right at 64?
So I guess if I were you and you do choose to break the news, you don't actually break the news, because the last thing she needs is the shame factor of her son telling her this.
Oh, that's a good point.
So you're going to have to go with an anonymous email with some receipts. I just think if you've caught this multiple times on your father's phone, hasn't she? She's around him all the time.
You know what I think about all the time? I absorb movie lines and speak in movie lines. But like they did that remake of Liberace's life story where it said Behind the Candelabra. And he has his, forgot which, one of his boy toys. And they're kissing at his breakfast table. And one of the maids walks in. And he goes, he straightens up like, oh, my God, the staff is here. And he goes, they see what they want to see. I think that, like, your mom ain't stupid, bro. Men need to know this. Anybody in a relationship needs to know. There's either people are fine with it or they've chosen not to see it, whether it's alcoholism or cheating. But I just think you have to let your parents be parents. If your dad is being this sloppy, like you said, she'll find out. Yeah,
but definitely you don't relay this information.
It's not your business.
I just thought it's funny because I have this in I was going to present some vouch dating. And one of them, because you're saying like...
And let me say this really quickly. I didn't say it's not your business. Like, I wasn't trying to be cold when I said that. I appreciate you writing in. That was really personal. I'm just saying, like, it's not your business. And once you make it your business, the results could be catastrophic. So just tread lightly, take Corinne's advice.
I'm going to read the name of this person when we wrap.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking about you, brother. That's tough.
Yeah.
That's really tough, man. That's real.
But on the bright side, so you know how vouch dating, which is just a bunch of, people.
You know I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah. So for anyone who's listening that can't remember, vouch dating is a site where you can present candidates. Usually it's women presenting good guys because there are no good guys in Denver and they're vouching for them, but they're always like, very, very broken and damaged.
Of course.
I have a bunch of those, but I'm not going to read those necessarily. What I wanted to read you was this one because I screenshot it because it was so out there. But because Al just said this, like, what are you going to do when you're 64? Okay, this person wrote in. It's this person's granddaughter. Okay, long shot, but I'm trying to set up my grandma, Carol, on a date. She's 75 and lonely, but she will not admit it. My grandpa died 16 years ago, and she doesn't get out of the house that much. She loves bingo, Tim McGraw, volunteering to walk dogs, and her grandbabies. We live in Thornton. She's very active for her age, pictures of her, and she would backhand me if she knew I was doing this. So there is this option.
To get a dude off Facebook to take advantage of your grandmother? Yeah. That's what you're really doing.
I wondered if anyone wrote in. And then I there's a bunch of other older women that submit themselves. And like this person wrote, let's see, I'm 51 and have been single quite a while. I'm fit, ambivert, naturally introverted, but can be extroverted when comfortable or the situation calls for it. She's already very annoying. There's paragraphs here, but what I've circled is the next thing that she said. I'd love a companion who, among other things, doesn't look like he's my grandfather.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there a picture of her?
You can't. I mean, she's 51, but you can't. I mean, it's a heavily filtered. You can see that.
It's so filtered. It looks like the cover of like one of those romance novels.
Yes.
Yeah. There should be a shirtless guy with a rose in his mouth.
And the last one, I feel like this is when we do Patreon, I'm gonna put these things up because this woman's face is just so good. So she writes, so where are all the guys my age? I'm 58 and looking for someone to close my age. Oh, sorry. I really think she has to have a New York accent.
Oh yes.
She's
definitely yelling this email.
Close to my age, say 56 to 62. What the fuck kind of specific she's 58 and she's only going to go 2 years older or 4 years older or 2 years younger. I'm funny, smart, successful, and independent. It really shouldn't be this hard.
Jesus.
Now the photo.
Oh, my gosh.
Do you not love this so much?
Yeah. Oh.
Also, what a coincidence. I never screenshot elderly, and I have like a couple of, I'm saying elderly, these people are like 10 years older than me.
She looks like she takes pictures of dead people, but at Sears. Yeah, it's just... He's just like a really bootleg photographer.
And
for
it's
people that don't know, you can just take it on your phone.
And she's got a very come on my face. Like,
yeah, I don't know. And I dropped my phone that's not on. I hate myself so much. Because Corinne's like, keep your phone quiet. I'm like, it's not on, but I make more noise than if it just rang. It hasn't rung once. It's just, I dropped it off the sandbag. This has been, I just love when the tears are in the eyes.
Yeah.
Like that is, it's one of my favorite times of day. And, we do have one more email, but I want to save it for the next show because I want to take what little time we have by just telling everybody that I had a shindig this past weekend. Why am I saying like I wasn't at it? I was about to say you're.
I thought that was a code for like you had a gig, like a
No, I said I had a party you were at, and she looked at me like we were on The Young and the Restless, and I'm like, we're both dead. Like that was a very strange reaction you just had to something that you had less than 48 hours ago. That's very weird.
Yeah.
But okay, so I just need to tell everybody that, and it's just again reiterating why we're friends. Everybody that I love that was at that party loved you.
Aww.
The way that you are is just like Corinne, just holding court, making people laugh. Like my girl thinks you are so funny.
Aww.
And this was just to give a little timestamp to this email, to this podcast. This is the day of the national championship game. And so there was a minute left in the game. So we all come back from outside in my backyard into the TV room. And Corinne comes back. Corinne had a beer too, and
a whole bottle of mezcal.
Yeah. I was gonna let you whatever you want to do with that.
Well, the worst is that I drank the whole I just drink it straight, and then at some point because you're the hostess with the mostest, you're like, does anyone want to take shots? And I'm like, I will.
Yes.
And there was like one other person that was, and I'm like, what am I doing taking shots? I'm drinking it straight. I mean, just ludicrous behavior.
Yeah, but taking a shot is more for you. It's emotional.
Yeah.
Takes you back. So we're all standing. There's probably like, I don't know, 8 of us in my living room watching TV. And there's a guy that I just met that had his 10-month-old son. Very cute kid. And, he's the dad, but a sports fan too. So he's sitting on the floor with his baby boy, watching the Final Four. And Corinne just like shifted her gaze down to this 10-month-old and just locked on it like a hawk that sees like a little baby duck trying to cross a creek.
Uh-huh.
And you kneeled down and you pointed, your full arm extended, not even a bent elbow, pointed and goes, does this one talk? Does he talk yet? And he goes, no, he's 10. He's still waiting for that first word. Still hitting you with like parent speak, but like that was code for like, he's 10 months old. Get away from us.
Idiot.
Yes. And so you go, are you going to talk for me? Say something. You just like you were bullying him in a Jersey high school in 89.
If I could be the winner here.
Yeah, you just bent down and like, what attracted you to this kid? And like I would say it went on a little long to the point where I was starting to do that thing that like an alcoholic, like the wife of an alcoholic does. Like, he's so sleepy, he's so funny. Why don't you go upstairs, honey? You were like, he's gonna say something to me. He's gonna say. Can you say? Well, you're not fun. You're not interesting. Then I'm like, yo, what is happening in this living room right now?
Well, I will give you the background on like why I have a history with this, so I thought maybe I could pull it off.
Okay.
So my goddaughter, she wasn't speaking in full sentences, and she's wonderfully spoiled. But in part of that, she just doesn't feel like talking when she's at home. So she was just kind of really, she'd say Gaga and Papa and, like Grandma and Grandpa, but she didn't speak in full sentences at the time. And so I wasn't going to go to her birthday party. She was having a birthday party with children, and my best friend,
as they tend to do from time to time.
I mean, and so my best friend Julie was.
You think it's going to be at the Mondrian?
She was. Yeah. Why didn't she rent out a pool? Yeah, Yeah. So she was turning 3, and Julie was like, you don't have to come to the party. I was like, thank you. And it was like at this place that has like little vignettes. And at the little, like, it's like a little firehouse, a little movie theater, you know, and when you walk in, the vignettes are tiny. They're like short. And so when you walk in as an adult, they make everyone put socks on, but then like you're really tall and all the kids can see you. And from across the room, she sees me and just yells out, "Go away, Coco." And that was like kind of the first sentence that she ever said. So like Julie and her parents were like, oh my God. And I was like, what is happening right now? And then once she locked into that, her grandfather, her papa, was trying to give me a cupcake. And he goes, now give Auntie Coco a cupcake. And she just gets real close to my face and she goes, I said go away. Yeah.
Were you approached by a social worker after this? Like, what did you do?
I was concerned when she yelled, and I was like, there are other people here that are going to wonder what has happened between us. She just didn't. She likes me okay now, but she really didn't like me for a while. So, anyways, I have a history of getting kids to talk, and I thought if I harass this kid, he'll also say, "Go away."
Oh, you were harassing, like in almost. It was almost like the kind of bullying that was like throwback bullying to like '93. Back when just like somebody would just decide, I'm just going to destroy this guy's life today. Yeah, so the kid did not talk.
No, he didn't.
But 10 months, he still got some time. So we will keep you guys posted.
Also, you can't bring babies to parties with alcohol. This is what happens. Some drunk fool.
It changes the dynamic.
It does.
I don't mind it because I have kids.
Oh,
but
right.
When I did not have kids, I did not like it. Because I have kids and I like to be around young kids, as creepy as that sounds, I don't mind it now. And especially because like I do feel like we're in this age of parents where they like understand. Because you have to understand, if you have a kid and then you stop going to parties and barbecues, you're going to be that weird couple that's like, now you don't talk to nobody. It's
right.
Like, you got kids, you're not dead. So you do need to go and just like, you take the baby in the kitchen, I'm going to take 2 shots with my boys. You got to still be a person a little bit. So I get that. And now people, they come in for 30 minutes. Like it's annoying for them too because they got to watch the kid. There's sharp shit everywhere. So I get it. I get why they came through. Well,
that's what it was. We were at the party for so long, and it was like the tail end when they came in, and I was like, obviously.
Yeah, they came in and they met your representative at that point, and I was just like, here's why I know I love her. I love your representative just as much. That's always a bad sign when somebody's not a good drunk, and you're like, oh no, dude, don't do this. He's like, no, the waitress is tripping. It's like, oh man, I thought we were gonna be cool. If you can't handle it and your real self comes out and you start being rude to people or like being shady and like pushing up on people, I'm like, oh dude, you're not the one. But you, Corinne, have been the chosen one. And that's why since day one, we've just been down by law. So with that said, and I do want to say thank you guys for being down by law, listening, supporting. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. And Corinne, tell them where they can find us.
Yeah, my safe word is more on Instagram, or my safe word is more advice at gmail.com if you want to write in. And then information for Patreon will be on our episode pages.
Yes, and you can log on to Facebook on a desktop.
You can.
At a mainframe down at City Hall and
mainframe.
Look up the information on a microfiche. Remember that in the library?
Course. I love microfiche.
Yeah, I did. I
felt like such a scientist.
Yeah, you would go into the multi-art center in the library with the record players and cassette decks. Anyway, I'm 500 years old. But with that said, guys, I want you to just keep your head above water and
just keep swimming.